Take two. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. There's a new setup going on here. Typically, when I do this show, I do it right after seeing a movie, so I do it from my car in a parking lot nearby, either the Walmart parking lot near the movie theater, or in this case, a Staples and abandoned other store parking lot near my movie theater. So I come here to do it so that way I can do it immediately after seeing it, so you get like fresh thoughts. In my old car, if you listen to the other podcast, my old car got totaled in a car accident, so I have a new car now. The old car didn't have a Bluetooth microphone in it, which to this day I don't know where it is. The old car didn't have that. The new car does have that, so I can see. I can speak freely, not have to hold the phone to my mouth. The microphone is slightly better quality. You may hear the interference of the engine running in the background, but that's really the only discernible difference that's going to be happening, besides the increase in sound quality, because I'm doing it with a better microphone now. I did turn off the heat, though, so this is going to be a quick one, because the heat does blow directly onto the, directly onto the, I don't know what the microphone is to begin with. So, the movie I saw this week, or today, as some call it, is Knives Out. Finally got to see that movie. I've been waiting to see it for a long time. And I think the best thing about it was I managed to go this long, considering it came out in November, and now it is January. I managed to go this long without it being spoiled, which is a huge thing for a murder mystery. If you're doing a murder mystery, it's best to see it before you have it spoiled for you, because that's part of the fun, is trying to figure out who did it as you go. And this movie is pretty bare bones about it. Like it's like an extended episode of Murder, She Wrote, or something like that, and I really love that. It's a whodunit is what they call it, and it's fantastic. The movie does a really good job of not being in your face about who actually did it. I'm not going to spoil it, because at this point, if you haven't seen it yet, you might be on the fence about seeing it. It's written and directed by Rian Johnson, which unfortunately is going to get a lot of people to not want to see it, which is weird, because he's never had a miss. There are people who didn't like The Last Jedi who have dedicated their lives to not liking anything he does ever again, which, I mean, it's like, it's creating a revisionist history where all of a sudden Looper isn't good, and all of a sudden, it's nonsense. So when you have a movie like this, it's a very bare bones crime drama at the end of the day. The most important things that go into it, and I'm going to apologize now, because you're probably able to pick up me moving, because I talk with my hand a lot, and I'm wearing a winter coat because it's January. It is 23 degrees out. So I'm wearing a winter coat. So if I move my hands, you're probably hearing my interference from my coat. But when you have something like this, the most important thing is story and execution of the story, technically and all of that. Like, when you're watching the movie, you should be, like, cinematography, editing, all that stuff is going to be drawn to the forefront, because of how little there is extra. There's no spectacle to a movie like this. It's not like Endgame, where it's like, and Endgame's a bad example because they did cinematography well in that movie, but like, and direction and all of that, but like, in a big spectacle movie, people are going to look to that less because of the visual effects, because of the spectacle aspect of it. With something like this, or like Loose even, technically, all of the small things that you take for granted in a movie that you can typically put to the back of your mind get pulled to the front, because it's what you're forced to look at. And you're forced to, like, set design. You're looking at the minutia of it. You're looking at, when it comes to the story, you're dissecting the dialogue. So the dialogue needs to be spot on. And one of the things I noticed as I was watching this as a writer is, when he's writing Benoit Blanc, you have to write his dialogue as someone reading it with a Southern accent. Because his dialogue doesn't work if he's doing it in a New York accent, or an LA accent, or a British accent even. You have to craft the dialect around that. That takes a lot of skill. This movie was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I think this movie should win it. This movie, just because that's arguably the most important thing about a movie like this, is while not spoiling the ending, you have to lay the groundwork for it. And for a movie like this, it promotes replayability, because now at the end when they go through and they show you everything that happened and how they got to the conclusion, you're going to want to see, you're going to want to go back and see if the moments were true to that as you're watching the as you're watching the movie, to make sure they didn't change it or anything. One of the things that really stuck out though toward the beginning, when we first had the interrogation with the two police officers and Detective Blanc, when they're interviewing everyone and it keeps cutting between, because they keep using establishing shots and cutting between people while they're telling a story and they're crafting a narrative. That was really interesting and very well done. There's minimal action, minimal set, alternate sets. Most of it's set entirely in the house, and all of the characters, it's weird. Some of the characters feel like caricatures, but not really. But it's a weird limbo and a weird line that they walk, where some of the characters will feel like they're meant to be jokey, way to the extreme, but then it's no, I've seen that. I know this is what some people are like, and it's so well done. And I think a lot of that comes from the all-star acting cast I have in this movie. They have Ana de Armas puts on a great performance. I didn't know she's going to have as big of a role in the movie as the trailers indicated. I thought she's going to have a much smaller role. I thought it was mostly focused on Chris Evans and the larger family. But the movie does such a good job of making these really good actors take these smaller roles that really that are meant to almost like a garnish on a dish. It's meant to draw out and make everyone else look better. And that's not to say that people in the lead roles aren't doing a great job, because Daniel Craig does a great job. It's probably my favorite role I've seen him in is this. But it allows you to it lends itself to be a franchise, but not really, in the way John Wick was. I'm looking forward to the inevitable sequel, where they do an entirely new family, kind of like Murder on the Nile, which they're doing with the Agatha Christie books. I'm looking forward to this. I want to see more of this. So yeah, I'm cold, so I'm shivering a little bit. So we'll be back with another movie, not tomorrow. There's a snowstorm tomorrow, so probably Sunday. I don't remember what movie I have tickets for Sunday. I had to rearrange everything because of the snowstorm tomorrow. But I'll tweet out what I'm doing. And we'll be back with that on Sunday. Have a great evening.